To what extent do you think that, the current state of affairs in this country could impact your ability to do that?
Oh, that is a global phenomenon. Globally, economies have run down, have gone down. There have been depression in so many countries because of COVID, because of Soviet Union invasion of Ukraine, and supply chain disruptions. This has made global economies suffer. So I'm not surprised that incumbent governments are suffering. But all in all, some managed to win. And MPP is also going to win.
Despite people's lived experience of how
But they will compare and contrast.
What would they be comparing and contrasting to?
The person who wants to come in, what he was able to achieve during his era. Yeah.
Now, so I want you to do the comparing and contrasting for me now.
Oh.
And how you still think that the NPP is better off?
I won't be able to do that now, but all I can say is that Dr. Bawumia has invited John Mahama to a debate.
When was that?
Oh, can I push that to you?
Yes, please.
Oh, let me push it to you.
You can do that, but while you're doing that, one of the comparisons that has been made is the currency exchange at 3 cedis during the Mahama administration. Now
now you are going to 3 cedis. I thought you said 4 point something. That's what I've heard people saying. But
even if it's 4 point something, it's about 3.5 times that right now. We are pushing 15 cedis. Is that the comparing and contrasting we are going to be making?
We will make it.
How does that?
I won't do that. I would rather give my presidential candidate, who has made that request I'm sending to you now, the opportunity. So if John Mahama accepts it and you are seated,
right,
we will see. We will see.
So again, in comparing and contrasting, people's purchasing power have decreased over the years. And you still insist that the NPP is doing better than the previous administration?
Very well.
How so?
How so?
Yes. How so? When our purchasing power has reduced?
Which purchasing power are you talking about? Inflation?
The standards. We can't even talk about inflation because we used to enjoy single-digit inflation.
Today, but we too have enjoyed single-digit inflation.
So the cost of...
But I think that, I keep telling many journalists this thing about economic growth. Economic growth, countrywide, globally, it's not something you can achieve throughout the lifespan of a country, if any. Okay? Sometimes you go up, then you nosedive, then you go up. There was depression in the UK recently. I don't know how far they have overcome it. There was depression in the United States. Our colleagues in Nigeria, in Kenya, in South Africa, in Egypt, in Togo, are all suffering. So don't expect that there is a country who has started economic growth and has gone unprecedented throughout the lifespan of a country. It doesn't happen that way.
I see.
Because there are certain features, like I spoke about COVID and the Ukraine and all that, which you may not have the ability to control.
And again, the COVID-Ukraine explanation, I think that explanation is tired at this point. Because then the MPP told us that they have the men. You can't only have the men when things are good. You should have the men who are able to turn things around when it is bad. So even if we accept the COVID-Ukraine explanation, we expect to see the men at work and the men are turning things around. But let's compare. Cost of living today, cost of living 7 years ago. What would you say? Are they the same? Better? Worse?
Kemini?
Yes.
A country's growth and development has many branches.
Okay.
Okay. So you cannot use one line item to define the development or growth of a country.
Okay.
So if you go and use kenke, a ball of kenke, that is being sold today at maybe 10 cedis, 5 cedis or whatever, and that previously it was being sold for 1 cedi, it's an error.
Okay.
It's an error.
All right, so if we put cost of living aside.
Inflation from 1957 when we had independence has not been the same. When I was attending secondary school, my school fees was about 14 cedis. When I went to UK at first, my airfare was, I think, 33 cedis. So if you want to
times have changed.
Yeah, times will continue to change. We live in a dynamic world.
So let's say we are not using cost of living.
So what do you want to use?
I should be asking you that.
Oh, well, look at education, look at health, look at freedom and the human being. And that's why the New Patriotic Party, our motto is development in freedom. Look at the amount of freedom, governance that this country has. You want to sidestep that?
Well, I
am telling you that we have abundance of freedom and security. Internal and external security.
Right. It is also under this administration we've seen press freedom drop.
That is absolutely not true. I think I can face you on that. If the economic levels of journalists are not up to a certain level, it doesn't mean the entire press landscape is not free.
We know that one of the things that this administration did, after journalists had complained over and over again, was now to associate with certain journalists. And so when I say that press freedom has dropped, it is not only on the index, but it's also the fact that we have felt it in this country over the last 7 years.
Kevin, NPP believes in press freedom and freedom of the individual and freedom of enterprise.